This is Soul Work, and we're live here at Shaw TV. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm your host, Jeni Cousins. And on tonight's show, I have my guest, Wendy Piper. And she was just sharing just a little bit of her experience with a near-death experience. So for those of you who can connect and relate to that, you will understand more. And we have opened the phone lines, by the way, so we are taking calls. And I was gonna just have you just continue just for a couple of minutes, because I know we have someone on hold right now as well. But you wanted to mention something.
Yeah, when I was going up in the light, I remember being so worried about what my mom would think if I died. And it was as if I looked over my shoulder and I saw her sitting in her rocking chair crocheting 300 kilometers away. Mm-hmm. And I knew where all my loved ones were. It was a very strange experience.
That's amazing. That's amazing, because they do show you, as anytime I teach meditation classes, I would tell people, vision, you're sitting on top of the moon looking down.
Yeah.
And because that's pretty much the way it is when you go into that energy, as you know. You can see everything.
Yeah.
You're showing everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, anytime I've had near-death experiences myself, I see more.
Yeah, like nothing's hidden.
Yeah, no.
Any hidden information you didn't know, you now know.
It's there.
Yeah.
It comes out. And we do have a caller on hold for us. And our caller, you have a question for Wendy and myself, Joy?
Thanks.
Hello. You have a question for us?
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I do. Your show was absolutely fantastic tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Makes me feel
You're
so
welcome.
much better.
I was wondering, can you tell me something about my life and where I'm going?
Well, that's a really long question, actually. Do you have like a certain question you have? Like just one question, pretty much?
Well, I have some health problems, and I was wondering if I'm going to be able to survive everything.
Well, that comes up to you. No, I really feel like everybody has certain health problems and issues and stuff like that as well, of course, obviously. But what it really comes down to is if we start putting in our mind that we're going to have health problems, we're going to get this, we're going to get that, we're not going to heal from this or that, we won't. Bottom line. So I just, you know, I really feel with you, you know, if anything, that you might get a little bit more stiffness in certain areas of your body, and just kind of pay a little bit more attention to that, and then you can kind of stretch your muscles a little bit more, if anything. So, and also watch your chest area whenever you kind of get run down and get a little bit congested with a cough. Just pay more attention to that, is what I would recommend for you. But other than that, I don't see any major health.
I appreciate that.
Any major health issues for you, and I appreciate you calling in, Joy, and thank you for the wonderful, nice comment.
Yeah, I think, you know, that could be God telling you to
watched
slow
your
your
show
roll.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be God telling you to slow down,
Yeah.
take it easy, and that could be why your joints are so stiff and you're moving slower. It's God saying slow your roll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. And thank you for phoning in, Joy.
Well, it's hard to slow down. I'm only 76.
Yeah,
Ooh,
there
well,
you
so
go.
you're doing great.
That's right. That's right. See,
Yeah,
you're as young as you feel.
You're doing great.
You are. You are. And thanks for phoning in, Joy. We already have other callers on hold right now.
I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. And just before I take a call here, I just wanted to show here Wendy's photo, or
It's a print.
yes,
Yeah.
the print that you did, and I find this extraordinary. I just love it, because the energy from this alone, if the camera, you know, zooms in on it with the two kids here, and if you can take a look at the shadow of what that shadow is and what it represents, and how fitting it is, especially for your experience. What, did you draw this after, or what?
I started to make a print of the two boys in the shadows, but while I was in art school, I went back to the U of L at age 36, and my nephew suddenly died at age 4, and that was a real eye-opener. And I ended up putting the wing and the halo on one of the shadows. I had an art teacher over my shoulder saying, yeah, that's what it needs, do it.
Yeah.
And I entitled it No One Walks Alone. So for anybody out there who's ever lost a child, I know it's hard to cope, but bad things happen for a reason. Negativity like that is not supposed to get you down. It's supposed to bring people together. And it doesn't always do that, but I think that's one of the harder lessons that you come here to learn, is to deal with the death of a young one. I think that's got to be the hardest lesson there is.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And thank you for sharing that. I wanted to show that just before I forgot. And we do have another caller, and that would be Kim. Kim, welcome to the show. You have a question for us?
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Kim. I can barely hear you, but
Hello.
yes. Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay? Hello?
No, I can't hear you.
Oh,
Hello.
hello. Yeah, we're having a little audio trouble tonight. So if you left your TV on, we always tell everybody to mute it. But because we're having a little bit of technical issues tonight, Spirit, it's hard for the callers and that. Do you hear me now at all, Kim? Maybe not. Probably not, unfortunately. So sorry about that, callers. We've just kind of run into a glitch, as I call it. So, you know, it does happen for sure. Definitely happens for sure. But we'll see if we can take this next caller here. And it's just that we're gonna move on right now. And we're gonna talk to Wendy a lot more. So how has this experience really impacted you and changed your life?
Well, at first it didn't. It took a little while to sink in. There were times where I would go to sleep and I would wake up remembering more of the experience. Strange things started to happen to me too. Like I said, I astral traveled and I didn't know what it was. And then I found out that I could astral travel to what I call dream school.
Okay.
And I would go back up somewhere and I would learn about all kinds of things that I don't really know about. Like I'm an artist, so getting information about quantum physics kind of took me by surprise.
Oh yes, I love quantum physics.
Because one dream school was all about quantum entanglement, and I began to realize that, you know, Einstein had it right, that energy is never created or destroyed; it's merely transformed. And I think that he had it. He hit the nail right on the head. Yeah.
So let's say if someone was, somebody knew that they were dying, and they were scared, you know, because I'd say realistically the average person is nervous or scared, of course, the unknown.
Oh yeah.
What would you say to them? Like if I said I was dying and I have 3 months and I was really scared, what would you say to that person?
I would say to go ahead and get your house in order. Talk to all your loved ones. My stepdad was a pretty phenomenal guy. He was a devout Catholic, and he was much older than my mother. And he said that when he goes to heaven, that he was going to come back and he was going to knock 3 times on the wall above her bed. And he's made good on his promise. In fact, I was taking care of my mother in my home for the last 4 or 5 years. And he would not stop knocking on that wall. And it doesn't sound like somebody knocking on a wall. It sounds like somebody's knocking on the inside of the wall.
Interesting.
You cannot replicate that sound.
I always told everybody, and I really mean this, that whenever I pass, whenever my times come, I actually saw how I was gonna, my death in this lifetime, but we'll,
Oh, wow.
if that, because I get bits and pieces of my future shown to me from spirit, whether or not that happens, we'll see. But I always tell people, you're gonna know it's me whenever I pass. Because when you're in the shower, by the way, and when you come out of that shower and that mirror is all foggy, I'm gonna write boo on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when people
Oh,
experience a
sure.
spirit in their house, you're immediately frightened.
Yeah.
Now I slow down and I ask who it is, and I go through different names.
Yeah.
And I ask them to make a sound if I say the right name. And I don't let it scare me anymore.
Yeah.
I drove transit for a while.
Yeah.
And I would be on my way back to the bus barns. You turn all the internal lights off. And as I'm going across a big bridge, I'd see little pieces of gravel bounce off the inside of the windshield. And I knew I always had passengers.
Yeah.
Lots of spirits like to ride the bus. They like to be around people. They like to feel happy.
They do. They definitely do. Because I can feel energy and a lot of spirit around me. And whenever I want to call on, because I had so many people pass, and whenever I want to call on someone, I'll call on them and I'll say, I want a physical sign.
Yeah.
And they'll do it. Like my wolfhound, for an example, he will come and he will like put his collar on the floor. He will all of a sudden have a big thing of hair. And even when my dad passed away just recently, I was on my way to the funeral home and I'm like, oh God, give me the strength. How am I going to deal with this?
Yeah.
You know, I was all alone. I was driving and I started to get really lightheaded because I'm like, oh no, please don't let me pass out at the wheel.
Yeah.
And then on my rear view mirror, I have feathers and stuff, and they all of a sudden went flying on the floor. And then I felt my dad sitting beside me and he says, I'm here. And then I felt this warmth literally go right through my body.
Yeah.
And I calmed down and I made it all the way there across the other side of the city in horrible weather. And I managed to take care of the funeral home a lot more calmly. So I always say, you know, just ask for help because spirit, your loved ones, you know, family, friends, animals, they will hear you and they will be there.
Yeah. When you lose somebody really close to you and it's such a shock, it can burn a hole right through your heart. And that hole doesn't need to be empty. You can keep talking to them. I keep talking to them.
Yeah.
That's how you keep them in your life. If you get a different feeling and it's not a happy feeling, then what I do is I surround myself in white light. Like I wrap myself up in a saran wrap of white light. And I wrap myself all the way to the top, from the top to the bottom.
Yes.
My daughter Elise phoned me from work one day, and she was working for Apple, very busy store, just very, very busy store. And she said, Mommy, I'm having a really bad day. And so I said, okay, well, I'll wrap you in white light. And in my mind, I'm wrapping her in white light, and her cell phone goes dead.
Yeah.
So she called me back and we did it again, and it went dead again.
Exactly.
So she called me on the landline, and as I'm wrapping her in white light again, the phone was doing something weird.
Crazy, eh?
So
I know,
Is
and
that
that's
proof?
amazing. I know, and we're actually already at the end of the show. Speaking of
Really?
wrap, it's funny
Wow.
how you said wrap, because I was getting the wrap up sign. And I want to thank you for coming on the show. And if somebody wanted to reach out for you, they can get a hold of you on Facebook?
yeah, Wendy Piper on Facebook. If you have
Questions.
a burning question about somebody that's passed on, how
Yeah.
to deal with it, or
Okay. Perfect.
send me a question on
Yes.
Facebook.
Excellent.
All respectful
Excellent.
questions will be returned.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're live here every Wednesday night, Calgary at 6:30 p.m. I'm your host, Jeni Cousins, and we'll be back live Wednesday nights. You can catch me on YouTube as well, Facebook and Instagram. So look me up and you'll be able to see all of the shows and get in touch with my guests as well if you're stuck. Take care and have a good night.